back to the farm at long last. It was a very busy holiday season, but very good. It was nice to have all the kids together one last time. But I think by the end of it, we were all kind of done with being in each other's space. So it was a good week. It was a good holiday, quiet New Year. Just thinking about the year ahead. My New Year's tradition is always to try and do as many things on New Year's Day as I want to have happen during the year. So I did a little bit of everything. I did some cooking, I did some knitting, I did some garden planning, I did some pottery, I did a little bit of all the things that are important in my life. I spent some time with Morgan. The only thing I didn't do was any board games, but that'll happen or it won't. Unfortunately, the surprise we thought we were getting for Christmas, we didn't actually get. Miss Lydia here. Oh, there she is. There's Miss Lydia. She was acting very much like she was about to give birth. The behavior you saw in the end of the last video was very typical nesting behavior. She was collecting hay and building a nest, best tunnel I've ever seen, pulling out her fur to line it with. So we were sure we were going to have babies by Christmas. We did not have babies by Christmas. We still do not have babies, unless she is even sneakier than Julia and has them hidden in that rabbit run somewhere. We've been moving very carefully just in case. But we haven't seen anything. We haven't found evidence of anything. So we don't know if she was just having a false pregnancy because of losing all the babies when we did the butchering. But it looks like no babies. But we are planning for the future. So you can see that Charlotte tube in there. We got that to get them used to a tube and make sure that they fit through that, which they do. We put that in there, and Lydia was the first one to scoot in there. And so now we're going to take that, and I also got this tote. It's not a big tote because it's not a big space. But what I'm going to do, is cut a hole in the side of it that fits the Charlotte tube and fit the Charlotte tube into that. We'll bury this in the hay, probably towards the back there, and put the lid on it. And then both of the rabbits can use this for nesting when they get around to kindling. We're going to breed Lydia. This was the plan. I'm going to breed Lydia at the beginning of February, so she'll be due the beginning of March, which is still colder than I'd like, but hopefully not as cold as it's been so far this winter. And with the addition of the box, and I put some sheep's wool in there that she can use for nesting material, and I don't know if you can see that. That's what's in that basket, or coming out of that basket over there. They should be able to be warm enough for the month or so, 6 weeks, until it really gets warm here. Now, I say really gets warm here. It is 42 degrees right now. Like I said in my last video, we lost all of that 8 inches of snow we had before Christmas. We lost it all in the space of 2 days. I was sure the creek was going to overflow, and we were going to be dealing with water down in the lower pasture, but it didn't. And then we got another inch or so, so we did have a white Christmas. But now it's been not warm, it was 56 degrees the second day of that thaw. So we've been in the 30s for the first time since that. We did get a couple more storms, so we did get all of our snow back. But it's melted. It's been icy, so it's been a little exciting walking. I can't find my crampons, so I'm just penguin walking all over the farm. We did do a couple of additions to the rabbit tree I wanted to show you. First off, we put a light in, and this has made a huge difference, especially as we've come... Yes, James, I hear you. Especially if we come into the darker part of the year. We're coming out here at like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon to close them up. Sunset is at 4:30. So having the light makes it a lot easier to work, especially for the girls in the back where they aren't getting so much light. We also put these slide bolts on the door, and we've got them on this door and on this door that bolt in here. We were having trouble because of the snow and ice building up along the bottom of the door. We were having problems getting the doors to shut enough that snow wouldn't come in through the top. So we tried putting these slide bolts on. We actually had to add another board to the top of this door because it wasn't lining up right, but this has worked out really well. And so now it's really easy to just swing these doors shut and slide bolt them in, and that keeps it shut enough to keep the breeze and the snow out. If there's buildup along the bottom, we can use the original latch to at least get the middle latched. So the top and the middle are fine, and it's just the bottom that we may have a little draft coming in through. But there should be enough protection to take care of them. So that's the rabbit tree. James would like some attention, so let's go over and see how the chickens are doing. Not a lot's changed for the chickens because they're chickens and they just are chickening. It took a while for them to get used to going out in the yard, even when there's snow on the ground. We have been shoveling out an area that's just barely big enough for everybody to get around. And we do have the tractor. We did end up having to tie it to a cinder block because the winds were so fierce that it was blowing it over again. So we've got that tied down and we haven't had any problems with that since. So that's good. And I've seen the chickens in there roosting on the ladder and on the hay bale. So they're making use of that. We have changed up their scratch grains a little bit. So we're still using the feeding buckets and they're going through that a lot slower than I would have expected this time of year. But we are heavy feeding with scratch grains, sunflower seeds, cat food every other day, and alfalfa pellets from the rabbits. And that seems to have given them enough extra energy that a couple of them are laying. We're getting 2 to 4 eggs on a daily basis. And you saw that Americanas are starting to lay. So that's very exciting. So now I'm getting blue eggs as well as brown eggs and kind of pinkish eggs. I think the pinkish egg may be from Xena. Let's see. Xena is the reddish one you can see third from the end out there. So I think she's laying the pinkish ones, and the dark brown ones come from my Bielefelders. So those, I'm very happy to see everybody's doing their business. We are changing everybody's waters, chickens and rabbits, every morning, and in the afternoon, if we check to see if they've frozen, and then we replace those then. And that seems to be working out pretty good. Oh, this is one of my favorite Americanas. I love this color on them. They're just kind of this beautiful mahogany color, and I just love them. Yes, I put all kinds of goodies on the floor. You can scratch that all up. You can see the deep litter bedding method is working really well. We do need to get in here with some more wood shavings. They're due for a refill, so I'll see if I can get Morgan to do that this afternoon. But we do have some other jobs we have to do first. Did your paw get wet? Well, whose dumb idea was it to come out here then? The eagle-eyed among you may have noticed in the last video that my wood pile was looking really empty. While I had the kids here, I got them to refill the wood rack on the porch, just so Morgan and I didn't have to do it. We have 3 extra young, healthy bodies. Let's put them to work. So they did a really good job, filled this all up, and it's empty again. It's been a much colder winter this year, and I think part of it might be my wood. The wood I got this year was slab wood, which everybody tells me is really good because it dries fast. It is almost always hardwood, so it's good firewood. But what I'm finding is it may be good firewood, but because it's so relatively thin, it burns really fast. So it's not doing great for me being a long, slow burn. I did get in my load some pieces that I thought didn't fit. That's this kind of scrap pile in here that wouldn't fit in my 16-inch box. But it's turning out, if I hold them at just the right angle, they do fit. So we've been salvaging some of those out of here, but you can see it's all very wet. They were frozen in place under all that snow and the melt from the last melt off. So some of this we haven't been able to get, but I'm going to try and get some of this up today. So I've got maybe a cord left, and I want to get as much of this up on the porch as I can. That'll give it time to dry out a little bit more, and just make it so I don't have to haul as much wood when Morgan's not here. I have to make as good use of Morgan as I can while he's here, until I have to be going back to doing this stuff all by myself. I can do it myself for the most part, as long as I don't put too much pressure on my shoulder, but it's easier when you have help. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to get the rest of this off here. I need to reload. The wood rack in the house is empty as well. So I'm going to get that reloaded so that we are all set. Again, it's in the 40s today, but it is supposed to start raining this afternoon. So I want to get as much of this done as I can. We've been using the IKEA bags as firewood bags, which has worked out pretty well, but I think we might be able to use the wagon today. I'm going to check with Morgan and see how he wants to do that. Because if we can just throw a load in the wagon, wheel it up onto the porch, empty it out, I think it might go faster. But so first job first, let me get this firewood loaded up and in the house. So each of these racks holds about one face cord. A full cord is 3 face cord for those of you who don't know. Full cord is 4 foot deep, 4 foot high, 8 feet long. So each of these boards is about 8 feet long, and the cinder blocks are about 16 inches, so that's about 1 face cord. But I can't fill it all the way because of the window, so 1.5 face cords, which should be one of those 2 stacks I have left from the wood that I got this fall. Considering how fast we went through this, so we went through 1.5 face cord in the space of 3 weeks. Now granted, it was cold. But even with that, my fuel oil bill this past month was $500, $600. So like twice what it has been. And I don't know if it's because I had so many people going in and out of the house or what the deal was. But, so we'll see if I've got enough firewood to get through the winter. This box here is, let's see, yes, that box there. Yes, Gimli, you want scritches. That box has all of my fat wood in it. I found a business here in the States that sells 50 pounds. I think I paid $35 for it. I'll double check the price and put it here. I was ordering it from Amazon, where it was coming from Mexico. And even though I was paying a lot less for it, I was also only getting 10 pounds at a time. So I was having to reorder it 3-4 times a winter last year. So I figured, let me just get the 50 pounds, pay shipping once, and be done with it. And that seems to be working out. So I've got a box in the house that's filled. I'll show you that. And then I have this box here with the leftovers. So that box holds about 12 to 15 pounds of the fire starters. And I use about 3 every time I start a fire. So that, I think I'm not going to have to order it again this winter, which is great. And I love using those as fire starters. It makes it so much more efficient for starting a fire. These planks here are my ramps. So I will put these down over the steps in the summer to wheel wood up onto the porch. Or what I'm hoping to do today is put it down from the edge of the porch into the snow. And if the wagon will work, just wheel it up on, fill the wagon, wheel it up onto the porch, unload the wagon, wheel it back down. If that doesn't work, we may try the sled. I got a heavy-duty snowmobiler's sled from my supply store this winter, and that has been a really good investment because Morgan's been using it primarily, but once Morgan's not here, it's great for getting feed from the car out to the shed or from the shed out to the coop without having to carry it, because I can't carry a 50-pound bag of feed. I'm not there anymore. So that's that for the porch. I'm just waiting for Morgan to surface, and probably over lunch we'll work on doing the firewood.
Please, I'm getting dripped on.
Got it.
Ow.
Sorry.
It's like came back and hit me.
get to them for a while. So hopefully they'll have time to thaw. Yeah, except for absolutely, I'm recording all of it, so. Yep.
God, this porch is a mess.
Yeah.
I want to take like a mop to it.
I just cleaned it and swept it really good too.
You fool.
I know, it sucks. Alright, well, we kind of ran out of weather. We knew that we were supposed to get rain this afternoon and we waited about a half an hour too long. So we got what we could done. So I got the back row mostly done. We could go up a little higher in the back, and the front about halfway done. So we're going to wait and see what the weather does this afternoon, and we'll check back in, and otherwise we'll just finish it tomorrow. I'd really like to get all of that wood pile up on the porch just to finish drying, even if I have to just stack it on the floor. So if I do need to order in another load of wood, they can just dump it there and I can stack it from there. But I promised Morgan lunch, so I'm gonna go make him some lunch. Alright, so we decided to give the firewood a break until tomorrow. It has stopped raining now, but neither one of us really want to deal with it. So we'll come back to it tomorrow. But I do have one other thing I want to do today, which is, as you might have guessed, in the basement. I wanted to show you how we're doing with our storage for the winter. You'll remember we put a bunch of stuff into storage. We've got garlic, potatoes, tomatoes. Let's see how those tomatoes are doing. and the cabbages. So let's start over here in the back corner and take a look at the stuff we've got here. Ooh, now that we've got the lights sorted, the garlic I wasn't too worried about doing well. Garlic in general keeps pretty well. You just want to give it a squeeze periodically and make sure nothing's coming apart and nothing's rotting. If you've ever had old garlic from the grocery store, you know what that'll feel like. You'll get one clove that's all mushy, and it's just no good. So I'm going to grab a couple out of here because I don't have any upstairs right now. I just have them stored for anybody who wasn't here in the fall when I was putting this up. I just have it stored in an old onion bag in a basket here. That one's pretty good. I've got a couple that are opening up a little bit more, so I'll take those upstairs. So yeah, these all look pretty good, so I'll take those upstairs. Put them in. The tomatoes I'm a lot more doubtful about. So, ooh, that box is very light. And take a look at how low that's gotten. Remember when we filled it, it was filled up to here. Oh yeah, that's all mushy and nasty, and I'm not even gonna try. So that experiment was an abject failure. Probably the storage time on this would have been better at a month or two, but not what we put those up in October, so not 3. So I'm going to put those. I've got a bucket here that I'm using for the compost bin, so we'll just, oh yeah, there's fruit flies in here, and yeah, that was just nasty. Oh yeah, bad. The other thing that I already know is a mixed bag are the potatoes. Because we've been using them, because potatoes are something that you use quite a lot of, but let me show you what's kind of happened. See, those are all really soft and mushy. And underneath it, they're even worse. And once they thawed, they got soft and are going off. So I think the idea is sound, but what I'm going to have to do is next fall, when I don't need to come in here, use the stairs anymore, I'm going to put maybe a sheet of plywood across the top here. Would you... I don't know what he thinks he's going to do. But if I put a sheet of plywood here and put some insulating foam on top of it, I think that would help prevent the freezing issue. So then this will be usable as storage space. So I haven't given up on that storage system yet, but we'll give it another shot next year. Now, the other thing I experimented with, you might remember, is I have this cooler in which I have my cabbages. And again, I'm fairly happy with it, because you'll see some of them, I mean, this red cabbage looks great. Some of them are kind of dark on the surface, but when you peel off the leaves, it gets better underneath. And some have gone off faster than others. I think this one, I don't think I trust this one. So you can see that's kind of all yucky and mushy. So I'm going to put that, I'll have to unwrap it, but I'll take that out and strip it down and give what I can to the critters It'll give the chickens something to play with. So again, a mixed bag, but I do think it worked fairly well. So I will, ooh, that one's got to go too. Are you any good? Ooh, no, that one's no good. I will do this again. And see how we make out. I think if the whole head has gotten mushy, then it's got to go. But if it's just a few spots, then I will keep it. All right. So I'm going to go through the cabbages and the potatoes and get the compost bin sorted. And I've got pizza coming, so that'll be good. Would you look at this friggin' cat? Why are you eating spider webs? You are crazy. Ended up better than I expected it would. This basket is stuff that I need to use fairly soon. I filled this bucket about halfway with potatoes. The top layers in both of these bins were the ones that were kind of starting to go. The second and third layers are actually fine. I think I found one or two in the white potatoes that were going off, and I didn't find any in the red. So I think that's a good sign. I really think this system is going to work out well for me with that added insulation. So progress. I'm happy to know that, because that'll mean that I can also store winter squashes in here once they're cured, because they'll stay cold enough and it's damp enough in here that they'll be okay. So all in all, I'm happy with this system. So lesson learned, the tomatoes, don't even bother trying to do that. Potatoes work fine. Garlic is fine. Cabbages, meh. If anybody's got any suggestions for other ways to store fresh cabbage, let me know, because I do use probably two to three heads a month. Not a lot, but enough that it's worth it for me to store them. Somebody is just so demanding for attention, but at least he's gotten out of the run so I can, or out of the stairwell, so I can close things up. All right, I'm gonna go back upstairs. At least try and play nice. Well, nobody seems very keen on it right now, but the chickens are kind of fussy about cabbage anyway. They're kind of sort of picking at it, but they're getting ready for bed. It's about 4:30 now. Sun will be setting in about 15 minutes, so they're starting to make their way indoors for the night. And the rabbits, I'm sure, we'll pick at it overnight. Rabbits are largely nocturnal, or they sleep when they want to sleep. Can you tell it's really icy out here? So they'll be up and about all night, so they'll get to it eventually. And it actually, the cabbages weren't as bad when I peeled those outer leaves off. Even the really bad ones weren't too bad when I got that off. So I think a lot of that is probably salvageable to one extent or another. I wouldn't eat a raw cabbage salad out of it, but I think it'll be fine for cooking with. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We're starting to get into the heart of our winter projects. I've got a couple of building projects I want to do in the house. I have a cat who can't decide what side of the door to be on. And it's almost seed starting time. I think I actually could start my onions now. I don't know. I've got a couple of long germinating perennials in the freezer that I could start with. But it's certainly seed ordering time and going over the garden plan. So I hope this was interesting. For anybody new here, I welcome you, and to all of you, I hope you'll come back and see what we get up to next time. Good night, everybody.